Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving my match predictions for week 22 Premier League fixtures, and the best league in the world is finally back after we just had the FA Cup round 4 fixtures. I think we're going to be seeing some tantalising results since we have some superb fixtures on display. We got the rematch between Chelsea and Fulham at Stamford Bridge in a West London derby. We also got two top 6 teams fighting it out for the objectives this season, with Manchester City travelling to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We also got Wolves versus Liverpool, and we have seen this encounter so many times this season already due to the FA Cup and the replay. So let's see what's going to be happening. I think we're going to be seeing some marvellous results, some epic displays, some good performances. However, before going this video and give my match predictions, you know I'm going to say, make sure you guys like, comment and hit that big subscribe button right there, because only 10% of you guys are actually subscribed to my YouTube channel. And make sure you leave a comment, let me know your predictions. So the first game I'm going to be predicting, it has to be this one. It is Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City. Two top 6 sides battling out because they have so much to play for. Manchester City trying to catch up with Arsenal in terms of the title race, and Tottenham Hotspur only 3 points behind Manchester United, trying to put pressure on them when it comes to the top 4 race. And going into this game, I don't know why both teams are being such drama queens. It feels like they've been disgruntled this season. It feels like they don't really have the belief. It feels like they've been in a mood, a strop all season, because it hasn't really gone their way. Although they haven't been playing to the optimum level the fans have wanted or seen them do in the past, they have to understand they're still in the title race in Manchester City if they hunt Arsenal down, and Tottenham Hotspur, they're still in the top 4 race if they hunt Manchester United down, if they continue their winning form like we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks. So they have to maintain faith and belief. And Manchester City going into this game, they have bounced back marvellously ever since the Manchester derby against Manchester United. They have beaten Tottenham, a top side. They have beaten Arsenal in the FA Cup at the Etihad, the team leading the Premier League race. So this should at least fill them with belief and optimism going into this game that they can walk all over Tottenham just like they did a few weeks ago. And I know in recent years Tottenham Hotspur have had their number, but we saw in the last game how dominant Manchester City were against them, and I just can't see Conte formulating a plan to stop and prevent Manchester City's talented world-class players getting on the ball and destroying them. Especially since we have seen Tottenham Hotspur's defence making mistake after mistake, being shambolic, literally assisting players like Haaland, Mahrez when it comes to scoring goals, like we saw in the last game at the Etihad. Players like Lenglet, players like Davis, players like Dyer are literally diabolical when it comes to defending. They aren't great. They always have a mistake in them. And if Romero's only your best defender at the back, Manchester City are always going to have a chance in this game like they did last time, even though they were losing by 2 goals at the Etihad. Like I said in the past, yes, Spurs have been Manchester City's bogey team when it comes to beating them. But at the end of the day, I feel like everything goes through Harry Kane, literally playing the role as the striker and dropping deep to create chances for everyone else. And if Manchester City are able to stop Harry Kane, like I said in the past, turning the ball, having time and pinning passes into Kulusevski and Son, they are literally not going to be able to create many chances, especially due to the fact that Tottenham Hotspur will have limited possession in this game due to the fact that we know Manchester City love to dominate and monopolise the ball and be on the front foot. I feel like Manchester City and Pep Guardiola have seen this game plan so many times in the past, and they should know by now of how to counter and stop this from working. Although players like Cancelo will be leaving Manchester City, I feel like Nathan Ake is better defensively at that left back position, and we know Kulusevski is one of Tottenham's best players and a danger threat, but we saw Nathan Ake deal with the best right winger in the Premier League as we speak, Saka, easily in the FA Cup. Although Tottenham Hotspur will fancy their chances on the other side, with Son returning back to form, scoring 2 goals against Preston, going against a young, inexperienced right back in Lewis. At the end of the day, I feel like Manchester City will have enough of the ball where it feels like Son will not be able to make those darting runs in behind and have many one-on-one opportunities against Ederson. Pep Guardiola must forget about overcomplicating things, playing a 3-4-2-1 where we have seen in the past it hasn't worked. It feels like in the past that sort of game plan and tactic of that formation has made Manchester City out of sync, out of rhythm, and has not made them to their standard best like we have seen in the past. However, Manchester City, just simplify things, go back to what you're used to, go back to what has made you so great in the past, and I just can't see Tottenham Hotspur winning. I'm going to go for a dominant display, 3-1 away from home for Manchester City. So the next game we'll be predicting is Everton versus Arsenal, and on paper, without a shadow of a doubt, Arsenal do enter this game as the favourites. They've been the better team, better style of play, better manager, more consistent, and they are literally sitting top of the Premier League as we speak, whereas Everton are literally in the relegation zone. And I know Arsenal, whatever happens, will enter this game as the favourites. They must be a little bit hesitant because they know this is the worst time pretty much to face Everton since they have appointed a new manager in Sean Dyche. And we know when it comes to new manager bounce back, it ain't a myth. We'll see it on full display, and the players are going to be playing for their place in that Everton side and making it extremely hard and difficult for Arsenal to play their style of play. The players are going to be fighting, they're going to be battling, they're going to be trying to win second balls, they're going to be slide tackling, they're going to be feeding off the crowd's energy at Goodison Park, especially with that new manager bounce back. And this is going to be a hostile environment for Arsenal players to try play that tick-attacker football, try play between the lines and literally dominate the ball against Everton. We know Sean Dyche, and I feel like he has the personnel right now to play his style of football. We know Cody, we know Tarkowski. They are rough riders at the back who are going to try bully and make it extremely difficult for Nketiah to hold up the ball for other players to join in. We know players like Calvert-Lewin, if he's going to be able to start, is going to be able to hold up the ball. He's one of the best players in the air. So even if Everton are going to play direct, he's going to be able to chest the ball down, bring other talented players in and around him to create opportunities. Dwight McNeil on that right-hand side, even though they have had a falling out, we know Sean Dyche has been able to get the best out of him in a Burnley shirt. Players like Onana in the midfield is going to be all around the pitch, trying to pick up loose balls, slide tackling, making it hard for Odegaard to pick up the ball and find plays. So because of the raw emotion, the raw passion the Everton fans are going to be feeling in this game, and they're literally going to throw this onto the shoulders of the Everton players, it is going to be quite difficult, especially if Arsenal do not get an early goal or concede early. The fans are going to be right in it, and it's going to be hard for Arsenal to recover from this. But at the end of the day, Sean Dyche has only been there for a few days. It's going to be hard for him to implement his style of play in a few training sessions, especially against our Arsenal side who have been a juggernaut this season. I can't see this happening. Although players like Cody, Tarkowski and Pickford have been good this season, Everton still have the highest XG within the Premier League, which just shows you how poor defensively they have been as a unit when it comes to conceding chances. So going into this game, I think it should be fairly simple for Arsenal. As long as they have the correct mentality of not being complacent, think it's going to be a walk in the park, thinking they're facing Frank Lampard's Everton side, they should be winning. We know Arsenal do have a dreadful record at Goodison Park. The last time winning there was in 2017. So this just shows and tells you how poor Arsenal have been when it comes to travelling to Merseyside. However, at the end of the day, I'm going to be predicting an Arsenal win. I think this Arsenal side is different compared to years past, and I feel like they have the mentality to claw out a win. I'm going to go for a 2-0 away victory for Arsenal within this fixture. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Chelsea versus Fulham, and this is the game which a lot of fans have been waiting for. It's the West London derby, and let's see which fans will be able to have the bragging rights after this game to see their team win. And going into this game, I feel like the pressure has literally been lifted off Chelsea's shoulders, especially not being in the limelight and the attention since they have gotten that break from the FA Cup, not being in it, obviously losing to Manchester City. So going into this game against Fulham, they should be refreshed, they should be rejuvenated, they should be energised since they have had a 2-week rest, which has allowed Potter to get to know his players even more, especially since we know at the beginning of the season where he didn't have that much time to get to know them and implement his style of play. He should have no excuses now, and his side should feel much more settled, much more confident, especially since the last 2 games, winning against Crystal Palace at home in the London derby and getting a point at Anfield where we know that has been tough for many teams in the Premier League to do so. So honestly, Chelsea should enter this game with a bit of confidence. Potter has had time to implement his X's and O's, his style of play, how he wants his wingers to adjust to his system. With players like Mudryk coming in the January window, this has given time for Potter to learn his style of play, learn his best position, learn his strengths and weaknesses, and let's see if he'll be able to get the best out of Mudryk, Mount and Havertz in that front three, interchanging, passing the ball, creating chances for one another to really hurt Fulham within this game. However, from a bird's eye view, I don't know if Graham Potter has the fight and the passion to rile up his players when it comes to a West London derby. Because entering this game, we know Fulham has this makeup within their side. We saw it at Craven Cottage. The fans and the players have this underdog mentality when it comes to Chelsea, because we know in the past they have had a dreadful record when it comes to this West London derby. They feel like they got something to prove, and Chelsea in the past have been able to walk all over them. And with Potter being a laid-back manager, I don't know if he'll be able to get this passion out of his players, because it's going to be a battle, it's going to be a fight, especially in the midfield where we see both teams trying to retain and win that possession battle. However, there is a positive. There's rumours that Reece James may start in this game against Fulham, and we know Reece James makes a massive difference when it comes to this Chelsea side. It is literally night and day, his ability to cross the ball, run down the right-hand side touchline, creating chances. Literally, Chelsea have missed this because we know Azpilicueta is nowhere near the standard of this player. So going into this game, I think it's going to be fairly close. Although Fulham haven't been in best form, because the last time they actually won a game in the Premier League was against Chelsea. They drew in the FA Cup. We know they lost to Newcastle. We know they also lost to Tottenham Hotspur. But there's nothing to be ashamed of there, because we know Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle have been top sides in the Premier League this season. And it's not like they weren't competitive. It wasn't as if they didn't put up a fight. I just feel like they got unlucky. So going into this game, I genuinely think it's going to be a stalemate. I'm going to be predicting a 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge in the West London derby between Chelsea and Fulham. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Wolves versus Liverpool, and these two teams aren't going to be strangers with one another, because we know they have been facing each other so many times this season, especially in the FA Cup, playing twice. And these teams looked evenly matched both times at Anfield and at Molineux. And we know going into this game, Liverpool haven't been in superb form. The players haven't been rising to the standards that we know in the past, and it's genuinely been dreadful. I feel like Jurgen Klopp does have to shoulder some of the blame, playing some players out of position, like Elliott on the left-hand side, where we know he's better than the right. Gakpo down the middle, where we know he's better on the left, or as a cam. Mohamed Salah is versatile enough to play down the middle. So I feel like these little changes will bring the best out of these quality players. However, the fact that they're playing in positions that are not really useful does speak true to why we have been so dysfunctional when it comes to attacking football. However, that's not the only problem. You've heard me talk about the past in terms of the defence and the midfield. It has literally been dreadful, especially in that midfield. We saw in the game against Brighton how much we sat off. This just shows you that we don't have the talent, we don't have the quality within the midfield to dominate games like we used to, be in the front foot, suffocate teams. The pressing has been disjointed. We have literally sat back like we are a mid-table side, like we are waiting to be relegated. It has genuinely been so poor, and going into this game against Wolves, as a Liverpool fan, I'm not filled with much hope. Even in the win against Wolves at Molineux, we weren't great, we weren't superb, we were only able to win because of that lucky goal with Elliott scoring a screamer. If it wasn't for that, we would have went to penalty against Wolves within the FA Cup. And also, we know Wolves under Lopetegui have been transformed. Although the results may not see it, we have seen it week in, week out. They are playing with much more spirit, much more fight, with much more passion. And I feel like they have the minerals and the tools to really hurt Liverpool, like we saw especially at Anfield within the first game of round 3 of the FA Cup. Players like Traore was dangerous when it comes to transitioning the ball from the midfield to the attack. And if Liverpool make this an open game, a basketball game, honestly, we are going to be torn apart because we don't have the legs within the midfield. So going into this game, I'm going to be a pessimist. I don't think Liverpool are going to be able to win. I'm going to be predicting a 1-1 draw between the two sides. So the next game we're predicting is Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. And these two teams really know each other well, especially since they literally drew to each other 2 weeks ago. And Manchester United entered this game with a sour taste in their mouth because they drew against this team due to a fantastic goal from Elise within the last minute of the game with a free kick. So Manchester United must be motivated to get revenge, get retribution for this poor result. And going into this game, Manchester United have been superb ever since the international break. I have literally given them so much credit for the way Ten Hag has transformed his side, gotten them playing his style of football, and they have literally been blowing teams apart. They won in the Manchester derby against Manchester City and played great. They are literally in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. They beat Reading on the weekend to advance into round 5 of the FA Cup. They're facing Barcelona soon in the Europa League. There's so much to look forward to as a Manchester United fan, and going into this game against Crystal Palace, you should just be expecting another win, especially at Old Trafford, where we have seen teams struggle to win there. And going into this game, maybe Manchester United will struggle. Eriksen's going to be missing. since he got injured in the game against Reading, and the fact they don't have a like-for-like replacement may remove some of the creativity and spark they have in the midfield. We know someone like Fred or McTominay may have to accompany Casemiro within the midfield to help him out, but we know going forward they aren't really the best with the ball. So will this leave Manchester United a little bit flat within the midfield when it comes to creating chances for Weghorst, Rashford or Anthony on the right hand side? We'll wait and see. However, I feel like just for one game or two, this won't be a detriment. We've seen Casemiro going forward has actually been superb, scoring 2 goals against Reading. His ability to pick out a pass, which I feel like is quite underrated, maybe not to the levels of Thomas Partey, but he still has an impact for his teammates when they really need him when it comes to creating chances. However, they are facing Crystal Palace, who haven't been in great form this year. We know they are still yet to win a game in January. They have faced some talented sides like Tottenham, Hotspur and Chelsea. So maybe this just shows already they can't rise to the standards of a very talented side. And we know Manchester United have been better than those two sides. I feel like on the counter-attack, on paper, it looks like Crystal Palace and Vieira do have the talent, do have the weapons to counter-attack against Manchester United, especially when they have Zaha, Eze, Elise, tricky, dynamic wingers who are not afraid to take you on, but really hasn't been working out for Crystal Palace. So going into this game, I'm going to be predicting a standard victory at Old Trafford for Manchester United. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory.